Several weeks ago, I started noticing on my news feed all this talk about something called the Stanley Cup. Am I the only one in the world that was wondering if people are just talking about hockey? Now, the other day I was watching YouTube and I saw that Stanley has this pour over, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of neat, that I picked up at REI. Oh, there it is, pour over set, Stanley. Now, I did ask my niece, I was like, hey, what's cool? There's two colors. There's a cream colored, and then there's this traditional green color. Maybe the white would be a little more fashionable. And she was like, no, get the green. Here's the green. It is much cooler, so let's get into it now. Okay, now that we've got everything ready, we've got our water on the boil, so we're gonna take our mug and we're gonna take our pour over device, we're gonna put it on top here so that it's all nice and set up. Now, the nice thing with this is you just drop the coffee in. We're gonna use 2 grams for every finished ounce, which means we're gonna be using 24 grams, right? I've got the water just off the boil. I'm gonna transfer it to a pouring kettle. And let's begin. So the thing about this, it's not gonna pour straight out the bottom. It's actually gonna come from the sides and then flow down around this cone of tower. So we poured a little bit in there and it's flowing. It is flowing. Yeah, there it's flowing. And I gotta use the medium grind for this. 24 grams of coffee, 30 seconds. Now let's go. We're gonna break down the crust that has formed. Gotta get a little bit here. Now, I'm not sure if really we should be doing a steady pour or what kind of pour we really should do, because this is really a whole nother way of brewing. I mean, it is a pour over. Theoretically, we could use the same ideas for pour over. I would like to see us conclude the brew between 3.5 to 4 minutes, because that's kind of the grind setting that we're using. It seems to be flowing rather slowly. Now, because of the way that it's made, it sounds like when I add water, it flows a lot faster. And so that would make sense, because the little cone isn't perforated all the way to the very bottom, I don't think. And the higher up you pour the water, the more water is flowing through. As it flows down, less water is going to flow through that stainless mesh. I guess the flow will slow down. So there might be a whole nother way to properly brew this mug, or coffee with this mug. We're almost at 2 minutes now, and we're gonna add a little bit more. Now, one of the things, there are some slots here in the front and back of it, so you can see into the mug. However, it's a little bit dark, so I can't really see too much. I'm gonna have to pick it up. And we're about 3/4 of the way there now. So we're almost done. What I might just end up doing is just using the visual reference inside the mug to stop, even if I may be pouring more water into the top than, the rest. 2 minutes, 45 seconds. So we're getting there. So about 3 minutes, 15, 16, 18, 20 seconds. How are we doing here? Oh, we're almost done. I don't know why I added that, but we're pretty much done now. 3 minutes, 25 seconds. And we pretty much got, as you can see, there's still a bit more liquid in here. We're just gonna let that flow out. We're not gonna worry too much about it. We're just gonna rely on the idea that we flowed enough water through the coffee to make the proper amount of coffee to the ratio that we're using. All right, so let's have a look. Well, not bad, nice and chocolate. I'm using the House Nation from Spur Coffee. Really great coffee. Typically a very chocolatey, nutty kind of coffee, very accessible, very kind of like medium roast, kind of like a good working man's coffee. One of my favorite coffees, and one that we serve at the shop. Now, here's one of the things about this. It is 48 degrees where I am, right? It's kind of chilly, and the problem with this mug is, while it's thermally insulated the body, the exterior is, of course, enameled stainless or enameled metal, and the handle is enameled metal, so you can feel the cold. That is a cold handle. So if you're outside wearing gloves, no big deal, but if you're like me right now, barehanded, you can feel the difference. Also, this very large mouth of the mug means that it's expelling heat at a very exponential rate. So we definitely want to add the lid to help preserve the heat, as thus. There we go, nice. So a good, like, working man's coffee, a little bit on the roasty side, meaning that we're moving a little bit more to city roast, so we get a nice flavor development, nice sweetness and like robustness to it, really good. So that if you want to drink it as your morning startup coffee, it's great by itself black, or if you're the kind of person that likes to use cream and sugar, it's a great coffee for cream and sugar. Now, another thing it's great for is donuts. This past week, I've been working on sourcing new bakery goods, so I've been tasting a lot of bakery stuff all over the city from all kinds of suppliers. It's really been a free-for-all of baked goods. You'd think that'd be great, but surprisingly, it's not that great. The amount of baked goods that I've eaten over the last 2 weeks is shocking. But earlier this morning, I was out at a place called Woodley Bakery, and I saw this thing that I just couldn't pass up, and I thought that I'd share with you today. Since we're talking about the working man having the Stanley Cup, gotta have the working man's donut. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's good. The crumb is really nice. Like, look at that. It's a yeast donut, so it's nice and chewy and soft and pillowy. Holy smokes. This is amazing with the coffee. So that's the first look at the Stanley Pour Over, and actually I think it's kind of cool. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of a task to clean it up, but relatively simple. I bet I could just toss it out and just rinse it. It should be perfectly fine. All right, ciao.